America just unveiled a machine so advanced it looks like science fiction. This submarine is faster, stealthier, and deadlier than anything ever built, and it's already rewriting global naval warfare. What it can do underwater is something even enemies didn't believe possible. You're about to discover the submarine that could change world power forever. Let's go. Number 10. USS Colorado, SSN 788 Virginia-class submarine. Nearly 8 million kilograms of pure steel cutting through ocean depths. That's what we're dealing with when talking about America's most advanced submarines. The Virginia-class represents the most acoustically stealthy submarines the U.S. Navy has ever produced, stretching 115 meters from bow to stern and carrying enough firepower to reshape entire coastlines. These machines operate at speeds exceeding 25 knots, while diving deeper than 800 feet, dimensions that put mid-rise buildings to shame when laid horizontally. The sheer scale becomes clearer when you realize each vessel displaces close to 7,800 tons of water when fully submerged. Construction of a single Virginia-class submarine requires approximately 9 million labor hours, involving over 4,000 suppliers, transforming raw materials into weapons platforms that can remain hidden for months while patrolling enemy waters. The Colorado, designated as the 15th Virginia-class submarine, exemplifies this engineering philosophy perfectly. Armed with weapons powerful enough to devastate continents, these predators combine stealth technology with devastating offensive capabilities. The arsenal includes close to 30 torpedoes and a dozen missiles, all managed by systems designed entirely on computers before any steel was ever cut. This digital-first approach revolutionized submarine construction, allowing engineers to model every cable run, pipe, and living space virtually. Number 9. Los Angeles class dominates Cold War waters. USS Los Angeles kicked off a dynasty as the prowling shadow that never slept. Designated SSN 688, she led what became the legendary Los Angeles class, the first of a family dominating the U.S. Navy's fast attack fleet for decades. At 362 feet long and 33 feet wide, she was a nuclear-powered predator built to disappear. Fully loaded, she displaced nearly 6,900 tons, yet could ghost through the Pacific with unnerving silence. The Navy admitted only that she exceeded 25 knots and dove deeper than 650 feet. Everyone knew those were safe public numbers. The truth ran deeper, faster, quieter, and remained classified. Her story began during the early 1970s, with Cold War tensions pressing down on every design decision. The contract was signed, her keel laid at Newport News in January 1972, launched in April 1974, and commissioned on November 13, 1976. For that era, Los Angeles represented a staggering investment of approximately $900 million in early dollars, equivalent to nearly $1.9 billion today. Barely months after entering service, she was already making history. On May 27, 1977, President Jimmy Carter, himself a former submariner, sailed with her alongside Admiral Hyman Rickover, the father of the nuclear navy. Beneath her skin beat the S-6G reactor, a pressurized water plant converting steam into electricity and propulsion. Exact performance remained secret, but it granted her unmatched endurance. Nuclear power meant she could stay at sea for months, limited only by food supplies and crew stamina. I'm going to ask you a simple question. Are you a naturally curious person? If you're watching, I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. This space is made for people like us. To ensure you're always part of this community and receive all our latest discoveries, you just need to do one thing: subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to stay connected with us. Okay, now that you're part of our Legion of the Curious, let's move on to the next item. Number 8. Ohio-class conversion, turning doomsday into precision strike. 4 Ohio-class ballistic missile submarines got a second life that nobody saw coming. USS Ohio, USS Michigan, USS Florida, and USS Georgia were built to carry 24 Trident nuclear missiles each. Then, the Cold War ended, and arms control treaties limited how many missile submarines America could operate. Rather than scrap these boats, the Navy gutted them and turned them into something entirely different: guided missile submarines, carrying 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles each. The conversion was brutal. Workers cut open the missile deck, removed 22 of the 24 Trident tubes, and replaced them with 7 missile packs. Each original tube now held 7 Tomahawks instead of 1 giant ballistic missile. 2 tubes were converted into lockout chambers for Navy SEALs, allowing 66 special operators to deploy from the submarine. Suddenly, these former doomsday boats became precision strike platforms and SEAL delivery vehicles. The math is staggering. 1 Ohio conversion submarine carries more Tomahawks than 3 Arleigh Burke destroyers combined. She can sit off a hostile coastline completely undetected and unleash a storm of cruise missiles before anyone knows what hit them. In 2011, USS Florida participated in operations against Libya, launching Tomahawks into Gaddafi's air defense network. The missiles flew hundreds of miles, hit their targets with GPS precision, and the submarine vanished back into the Mediterranean. Nobody saw her coming, nobody saw her leave. That's the whole point. These conversions cost about $700 million per boat, far cheaper than building new attack submarines while adding massive capability to the fleet. Number 7. Special Operations Delivery. SEALs from the Deep. Attack submarines have become the Navy SEALs' favorite ride to work. Modern boats like Virginia-class include dedicated spaces for Special Operations Forces. Lockout chambers allow swimmers to exit and enter the submarine while submerged, avoiding surface detection. The process works like an airlock. SEALs enter the chamber, seal the inner door, flood the chamber with seawater until pressure equalizes with the ocean outside, then open the outer hatch and swim out. They carry closed-circuit rebreathers that don't produce bubbles, making them virtually undetectable. The submarine waits at depth while the team conducts their mission, then returns to recover them. Ohio-class conversions took this concept to extremes. USS Michigan, USS Florida, USS Georgia, and USS Ohio each carry 2 massive lockout chambers converted from old Trident missile tubes. 66 SEALs can deploy from 1 submarine, along with their equipment, rubber boats, and underwater delivery vehicles. That's an entire SEAL platoon inserted hundreds of miles from shore with 0 warning. Missions include beach reconnaissance before amphibious assaults, demolition of underwater obstacles, intelligence gathering, and direct action raids against coastal targets. The submarine provides stealthy insertion, secure communications, medical facilities, and guaranteed extraction. SEALs train extensively with submarine crews, practicing lockout procedures until they become routine. The relationship between submarine force and special operations community has grown incredibly tight. Some Virginia-class submarines now carry dry deck shelters, external modules attached to the hull that house SEAL delivery vehicles and provide additional workspace. These shelters are removable, allowing submarines to be configured for special operations when needed and reconfigured for traditional attack missions when not. Number 6. SSN-X, the Next Generation Attack Submarine. SSN-X designates the Navy's future fast attack submarine design, with X indicating the concept hasn't been finalized yet. This isn't incremental improvement, but fundamental leap forward in undersea warfare. The requirement is called ocean superiority, meaning dominance in deep blue water against sophisticated adversaries far from American shores. SSNX must be faster, quieter across all speed ranges, carry more payload, and command swarms of unmanned undersea vehicles while maintaining stealth. The timeline stretches decades, with first procurement pushed to fiscal 2040, allowing thorough design work while Virginia-class submarines and Columbia-class boomers take priority. Fiscal year 2026 allocated over $600 million for research and development, split between hull and system studies and next-generation nuclear propulsion. This money funds unglamorous but essential work: tank tests, acoustic modeling, and trading volume against silence until numbers align. Analysts expect SSNX will displace over 10,000 tons submerged, larger than Virginia and possibly exceeding Seawolf, because quiet requires space. Isolating machinery demands volume. Larger sonar arrays consume room. The revolutionary aspect involves horizontal payload, the reconfigurable torpedo room. Instead of just torpedoes and missiles, SSNX will interface with unmanned undersea vehicles, distributed sensors, long-range drones, and mission-specific equipment. One patrol might load torpedoes and mines. The next babysits robotic scouts launched and recovered through torpedo tubes, feeding them power and data, then pulling their intelligence back into combat systems. The submarine becomes not just hunter, but quiet nerve center for distributed undersea networks. Decision superiority means knowing what's happening faster and acting smarter than adversaries.
Number 5. Tomahawk cruise missiles and Mark 48 torpedoes arsenal. Virginia wasn't designed solely for torpedoes. Flexibility formed part of her DNA from initial conception. As the class leader, she carried 12 vertical launch tubes in her bow, each ready to fire Tomahawk cruise missiles. Tomahawks function as long-range assassins, capable of flying 1,000 miles, skimming terrain, and hitting individual buildings with surgical precision. Virginia can fire them in rapid salvos, delivering sudden, devastating strikes without occupying her torpedo room. Later submarines in the class switched to 2 larger payload tubes carrying 6 missiles each, but Virginia retained her dozen and proved their effectiveness through rigorous testing. Stealth remains her ultimate weapon. Her hull wears sound-dampening tiles, while every machinery piece mounts carefully to prevent vibrations from leaking into surrounding water. Everything about her design focuses on vanishing into the ocean's background noise. Early boats like Virginia featured massive spherical sonar arrays in the bow. Later submarines swapped these for large aperture bow sonar, a horseshoe-shaped water-backed array that costs less, maintains easier, and listens more sharply in passive mode. This rolling upgrade system, implementing new hardware every few years instead of waiting decades for completely new designs, started with Virginia and continues throughout the class. Number 4. Navy SEALs Special Operations and Lockout Chamber Technology. Virginia plays roles that never appear on recruiting posters. She functions as a secret taxi for Special Operations Forces. Her torpedo room reconfigures into sleeping quarters for entire platoons of operators. She carries a large lockout chamber, allowing divers to slip in and out underwater without ever surfacing. Recent years saw the Navy testing unmanned undersea vehicles that launch and recover directly through her torpedo tubes, expanding mission capabilities beyond traditional warfare. The defining moment came in 2008 during operational testing, when she fired 3 Tomahawks, 2 from vertical launchers and 1 from a torpedo tube. The exercise ran quietly, almost routinely, but proved this submarine family could simultaneously accomplish the 2 hardest tasks, sneaking close and striking far. Since then, Virginia has maintained a steady deployment rhythm. 6 months at sea, 6 months home, sliding into European theaters, supporting national strategy, then returning to New London for modest pierside recognition. Life aboard balances constantly. Approximately 130 sailors operate a machine functioning equally as nuclear reactor, weapons factory, and stealth laboratory. Space remains perpetually tight, though Virginia feels almost spacious compared to older boats. Virginia didn't materialize from nothing. Understanding her origins requires examining the Cold War's most legendary predator that paved her way.
Number 3. Richard O'Kane's Cribbage Board, Passing Naval Heritage. Rear Admiral Richard O'Kane earned the Medal of Honor commanding USS Tang during World War II, sinking more Japanese tonnage than any other submarine skipper. His personal cribbage board became a cherished relic passed among submarines according to simple tradition. The oldest attack boat in service keeps it until retirement, then transfers it to the next oldest. This small wooden board carried decades of pride, connecting modern submarines to their heroic predecessors. Los Angeles received the board in 2007 as the oldest Pacific Fleet attack submarine, taking it to sea during patrols. Crew members understood holding this artifact meant responsibility for honoring submarine heritage. The board witnessed countless games played during off-watch hours, providing recreation in stressful environments. O'Kane's legend inspired submariners facing similar dangers he encountered in World War II. His tactical innovations remained relevant, teaching aggressive yet calculated approaches to submarine warfare. The cribbage board symbolized continuity between greatest generation submariners and their modern successors. When Los Angeles decommissioned, she passed the board to USS Bremerton in formal ceremony, continuing the tradition. Such rituals bind submarine community across generations, reminding sailors they serve something larger than themselves. Physical objects like this cribbage board carry stories and memories that photographs cannot capture. They become touchstones connecting past achievements to present challenges. The tradition demonstrates how navies preserve culture through simple customs. Modern submarines bristle with advanced technology, but human connections remain fundamental to maintaining morale and identity. O'Kane's board will continue passing between submarines as long as the tradition persists, honoring those who paved the way.
Number 2. USS Jimmy Carter, the spy submarine nobody talks about. Take everything dangerous about Seawolf and add a secret mission compartment longer than a basketball court. That's USS Jimmy Carter. She's the third and final Seawolf, but calling her just another Seawolf is like calling a Formula One car just another Honda. Commissioned in 2005, she stretches 453 feet because of a 100-foot multi-mission platform inserted into her hull, between the reactor and the engine room. That section is where things get classified. The Navy admits she can deploy and recover unmanned underwater vehicles, tap undersea cables, and conduct special operations missions. What they don't talk about is how she does it or where she goes, but you can read between the lines. She's won multiple awards that are normally given for extraordinarily dangerous missions completed in hostile waters. Her crew has been honored repeatedly with citations that never explain what they actually did. Intelligence analysts believe she's responsible for mapping undersea cables used by foreign militaries and governments, possibly tapping them for signals intelligence. She can sit on the ocean floor in waters deeper than most submarines can reach, deploy specialized equipment, and leave without anyone knowing she was there. Her hull is coated in anechoic tiles that absorb sonar pings instead of reflecting them back. Her machinery is mounted on isolation systems so advanced that tracking her is like trying to hear a whisper in a hurricane. The multi-mission platform includes a lockout chamber for Navy SEALs or divers, storage for remotely operated vehicles, and systems for handling payloads that the Navy absolutely will not discuss. She operates out of Bangor, Washington, home to the Pacific Fleet's ballistic missile submarines, which tells you something about how sensitive her missions are. Number 1. USS Virginia, SSN 774, first submarine built entirely on computers. USS Virginia rewrote the rulebook for modern submarine warfare. She launched as the first in her class during the late 1990s, when defense budgets were shrinking and the Navy desperately needed something smarter than the expensive Seawolf class. At 377 feet long and 34 feet wide, Virginia became the blueprint every subsequent boat would follow. The Navy classified her exact capabilities, only admitting she dives deeper than 800 feet and moves faster than 25 knots. What enemies can't measure, they can't counter. Her birth came from necessity after the Cold War ended and military spending collapsed. The Seawolf submarines, despite being lethal and enormous, cost billions each. The Navy could only afford 3 before canceling the program. Virginia had to deliver similar capabilities at a fraction of the cost. Early boats ran about $2.8 billion apiece, while larger versions with expanded payload sections now approach $3.6 billion to over $4 billion each. The construction method proved just as revolutionary as the design itself. Electric Boat in Groton, Connecticut, and Newport News Shipbuilding in Virginia split the work, building different sections and trading them before final assembly. This forced both yards to share knowledge and maintain skilled workforces, eventually enabling 2 submarines per year to roll off production lines. That system, pioneered with Virginia, still anchors American submarine production today.
Still curious? Then don't stop now. The next mystery is already waiting for you. Just click the video on screen. I saved it just for you. See you there, curious one.